Men don't just want to be touched, they want to be seen. In bed, words matter. Tell him he turns you on. Praise his effort. Whisper what feels good. Ask what he wants. Confidence is sexy. Desire is power. And when you speak it, you become unforgettable. We often talk about what women want emotionally, and rightfully so. But somewhere along the way, we started treating men like they're these physical creatures who only care about what's happening below the belt. And that's not just wrong, it's harmful to both people in the relationship. Because men crave emotional validation every bit as much as they crave physical pleasure. The difference is, they're often taught not to ask for it. From a young age, many men are raised to believe that expressing vulnerability makes them weak. That needing reassurance, being emotionally open, or asking to be seen in a deeper way somehow strips them of their masculinity. So what happens? They seek that emotional connection in silence. And sometimes the only place they feel safe enough to receive it is in bed, when everything is raw, when there are no distractions, and when someone is truly present with them. That's why words matter. Not just sexy talk for the sake of fantasy, but real, genuine affirmation that tells him, I see you. I want you. When you tell a man he makes you feel safe, or that you love how he takes control, or that his touch drives you crazy, not only are you turning him on, you're also validating something deeper. You're saying, you're enough. I'm into this. I'm into you. You see, men don't just want to be the best lover you've had. They want to feel like they're your lover. They want to feel chosen, desired, not just because they did something right physically, but because who they are, their essence made you melt. That's what gives a man confidence. That's what keeps him showing up. That's what builds the kind of emotional bond that makes the physical so much more powerful. And it doesn't take grand gestures. It can be a simple whisper in his ear saying, I love the way you touch me, or you make me feel amazing. It can be running your fingers down his chest and saying, I love your body. It's those tiny, intentional moments that tell him he's not just doing a job, he's connecting with you. That you're not just in this for the act, you're in it for him. Too often, people wait for their partner to lead emotionally. But real connection comes when you go first. When you create a space where vulnerability isn't just allowed, it's invited. When you understand that behind that strong exterior is someone who wants to feel adored, wanted, needed, not just for what he can do, but for who he is when the lights are low and the masks are off. Men crave emotional validation, and when you give it, not as a trick or a tactic, but as a real, honest expression of how you feel, it doesn't just make the sex better. It makes the man better, and it makes the connection unforgettable. Sexy talk isn't about memorizing lines from a movie or copying what someone else said. It's not a script you rehearse or a performance you put on to impress someone. In fact, nothing kills the moment faster than words that feel forced, robotic, or disconnected from what's really happening between you and your partner. Sexy talk, when done right, is about being in the moment. It's about authenticity and timing. You don't need to say something wild or outrageous to be sexy. You just need to mean what you say. Authenticity is incredibly attractive because it communicates that you're not just going through the motions, you're experiencing the moment for real, and you're letting the other person in on that experience. That's powerful. Sexy talk works best when it's a natural extension of your desire, your excitement, your curiosity, or your pleasure. It's less about the words themselves and more about the energy behind them. Think about the difference between someone saying, that feels good, because they think they're supposed to say it, versus someone who genuinely can't hold back saying it because they're overwhelmed by how good it actually feels. There's no comparison. One is performative, the other is real. And real is where the intimacy lies. Timing is equally important. There's a rhythm to intimacy, just like there's a rhythm to a great conversation or a beautiful piece of music. When you say the right thing at the right time, it amplifies everything. But if you're too in your head trying to figure out what you should say next, you lose the moment. You stop feeling and start overthinking. Sexy talk that lands is never about rushing to be clever or seductive, it's about tuning in. It's about paying attention to your partner, your body, the energy between you. Sometimes it's a whisper in the ear when the tension is building. Sometimes it's a low moan of appreciation right after he touches you in a certain way. Sometimes it's a playful tease when you're both still clothed and the anticipation is thick. And sometimes the sexiest thing you can say is simply, "Don't stop," or "I want more," because it's honest, present, and vulnerable. When you let go of trying to sound perfect or sexy, you actually become more sexy because you're emotionally exposed in a way that invites your partner in. You're not hiding behind an idea of what intimacy is supposed to look like. You're being intimate. That's the difference. That's what people remember. So rather than worrying about what you should say, focus on how you feel. Let that guide your words. Speak from your body, not your brain. Speak from what's real in that exact moment. That's where the magic is. That's where connection lives. And that's where sexy talk stops being a technique and becomes an experience you both feel on a deeper level. When it comes to intimacy, most people instinctively understand the power of physical compliments. Telling a man he's sexy, strong, or attractive is a beautiful thing. But there's something even more powerful, something that reaches deeper than the surface. It's when you praise his effort. When you acknowledge what he's giving, how he's showing up, and the way he's trying to please you. That kind of praise doesn't just feed his ego, it feeds his heart. Men often carry silent pressure when it comes to intimacy. There's an unspoken expectation that they should know exactly what to do, how to do it, and how to blow your mind every single time. But the truth is, no two people are the same, and intimacy is a learning experience. When a man takes the time to tune into you, to really listen to your body, to explore what makes you feel good, that's not something to take for granted. That's something to honor. And when you do, it creates a positive feedback loop where he wants to keep showing up for you in that way. Think about what it does to a person's confidence when they hear, "I love how attentive you are," or "I notice how much you're trying to make me feel good, and I love that about you." Those words don't just affirm his body or technique, they affirm him. They say, "I see your heart in this." And for a man, that's incredibly sexy. Because while he may enjoy the physical side of things, what he really wants is to feel like he's making a meaningful impact on you. It's easy to focus only on the outcome, the big dramatic moments. But don't underestimate the power of noticing the little things, the way he adjusts when you shift your body, how he pays attention to your breath, the way he checks in with your pleasure without breaking the flow. When you acknowledge those details, you're telling him, "I see the man behind the moves." That kind of validation inspires him to be even more present, more connected, more confident. And here's the beautiful twist. When you praise his effort, it actually brings out more of the qualities you love. He starts to feel safe to try new things, to slow down, to ask what you like, to share what he enjoys. Why? Because he knows you're not judging him for perfection, you're appreciating him for participation, presence, and connection. That creates freedom. That creates play. And that's when intimacy goes from routine to unforgettable. So while telling him he looks good naked might make him smile, telling him, "I love how you pay attention to me," will make him feel seen in a way that lasts long after the lights are off. It's not about performance, it's about recognition. And when you give that kind of recognition, it deepens everything. The passion, the trust, the bond. We often talk about how women want to feel desired, and that's absolutely true. But what gets overlooked is that men crave this just as deeply. They may not always voice it, and society rarely gives them the space to admit it, but it's there. The need to feel wanted, not just tolerated or accepted, but genuinely craved, is a core part of emotional and sexual connection for a man. For many men, desire is where they feel most vulnerable and most powerful at the same time. It's the space where they can drop the armor and just be. And when a woman expresses that she wants him not just sexually, but energetically, emotionally, it reaches him in a place that physical touch alone can't access. It tells him, "I choose you, I see you, I want you." This goes beyond attraction. You can tell someone they're good looking, and that might stroke the ego for a moment. But saying something like, "I can't stop thinking about you," or "I love the way you smell," or even just, "I want you right now," sends a different message. It's not about being polite or flattering, it's about making him feel pursued, desired, important. In so many relationships, men fall into the role of initiator. They're expected to make the first move, to read signals, to create the spark. But over time, if they never feel that same energy reflected back, it starts to wear them down. Not because they want constant praise or reassurance, but because being the only one driving the connection makes them question if they're still wanted. Desired men show up differently. When a man feels like his partner wants him emotionally, sexually, mentally, he becomes more confident, more giving, more emotionally available. Desire is not just about lust, it's about being drawn to someone. It's the look that lingers a second longer. It's the text that says, "I've been thinking about you all day." It's the way you reach for his hand, kiss his neck, or smile at him from across the room like he's the only one there. These moments might seem small, but they land deeply. They answer a question he may not even know he's asking. Do you still want me? The irony is, many women hold back expressing desire out of fear. They'll look too eager, too forward, too much. But when it's grounded in authenticity, that expression becomes magnetic. It doesn't make you look desperate, it makes you look confident. And nothing is more attractive to a man than a woman who owns her desire and isn't afraid to share it. Letting a man know that he lights you up, that you're drawn to him, that being near him turns something on in you. It's not just sexy, it's validating. It tells him he matters, that his presence stirs something inside you. And when he feels that, when he knows he's not just giving desire, but receiving it too, it deepens everything between you. Curiosity is one of the most underrated yet powerful forms of seduction. It doesn't require lingerie, rehearsed lines, or a perfect setting. It simply requires presence, openness, and a genuine desire to know the other person not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and energetically. When you're curious about someone, you make them feel interesting. You make them feel like a mystery worth exploring. And that is deeply attractive. In the bedroom, curiosity is electric. It creates a space where nothing feels routine, where every touch and response becomes part of a discovery. When you ask a man, "Do you like when I do that?" or "What do you want me to do right now?" it flips a switch in his mind. It tells him you're engaged, you're playful, and you're not just going through the motions, you're there to learn him. And that's a turn on a level that goes far beyond the physical. Curiosity is seductive because it's personal. It says, "I'm not here with just anyone. I'm here with you, and I want to know everything about how you work, what makes you feel good, what turns you on." That kind of attention makes someone feel seen, valued, and significant. When you're curious, you communicate that you're not just interested in performance, you're interested in connection. You're not assuming you already know everything. You're excited to keep discovering. This also takes pressure off the idea that intimacy has to be perfect or polished. Curiosity invites play. It says, "Let's explore together." It gives permission to try, to ask, to learn, and to grow closer in the process. You might say, "Show me what you love," or "I've never done that before, but I want to try." These kinds of statements don't just open doors physically, they create a space for emotional intimacy, where both people can feel safe, expressive, and empowered. And the beauty of curiosity is that it keeps things fresh. Even in long-term relationships, curiosity stops things from feeling predictable. It reminds you both that there's always more to learn, more to experience, and more to give. The moment you stop assuming and start asking again, the spark reignites. Suddenly, you're both leaning in, discovering new layers of each other. Men in particular are not often asked what they like. They're expected to know what to do, how to do it, and rarely get the space to express their own preferences. When you make space for his desire and his experience, it's disarming in the best way. It shifts the dynamic from pressure to pleasure, from performance to partnership. Curiosity is seductive because it says, "I'm here with you not just for the result, but for the journey." It makes him feel not only wanted but explored. And when a man feels like you're genuinely curious about his mind, body, and soul, that's when he lets you in, not just physically, but fully. Affirmation mixed with direction is one of the most powerful combinations in intimate moments. It's the balance between appreciation and guidance, between, "Yes, that's amazing," and "Here's what I'd love even more." This blend not only builds confidence in your partner, it also deepens connection, creates emotional safety, and turns up the heat in a way that pure instruction or passive silence never could. Most people want to please their partner. Especially in bed, the desire to get it right can be intense. But many men are never given clear feedback. They're often left guessing what feels good, what doesn't, and whether they're even on the right track. What makes a huge difference is when a woman is both expressive and kind with her feedback. When she says what she likes and gently guides what she wants more of, it invites participation instead of pressure. It says, "You're already doing great, and here's how to make it even better." That kind of feedback is sexy because it's rooted in presence. It tells your partner that you're tuned in, that you're enjoying the moment, and that you're not afraid to express yourself. When you say something like, "That feels amazing, keep doing that," or "I love when you kiss me there, but a little slower," you're not just directing, you're seducing. You're offering real-time affirmation that boosts his confidence while giving him the tools to please you even more. The key is tone and intention. Direction doesn't need to sound critical or cold. In fact, when it's delivered with warmth, breathiness, or even playful teasing, it becomes part of the erotic energy. A soft whisper of, "Right there, don't stop," or "I love that, now go lower," not only guides him physically, it pulls him deeper into the experience emotionally. He's not just being told what to do, he's being drawn in, invited, encouraged. Affirmation creates safety. It reassures your partner that what he's doing is working. Direction creates clarity. It lets him know how to go further, how to fine-tune the connection. Put together, they create a loop of positive reinforcement that keeps the energy alive and the communication flowing. Instead of guessing or feeling unsure, he's being led by your pleasure, and that's one of the biggest turn-ons a man can experience. What many people don't realize is that direction can actually heighten arousal, not interrupt it. When done with intention and emotion, it becomes part of the play. It builds anticipation, tension, responsiveness. It turns intimacy into a shared creation rather than a solo performance. And when a man feels that his partner trusts him enough to speak up, but also values what he's already giving, he doesn't shut down, he lights up. Because now it's not about pressure to perform, it's about a shared experience where both of you are active, expressive, and free to explore what feels best together. That's when sex becomes not just good, but unforgettable. Emotional intimacy is the quiet force that makes physical intimacy come alive. Without it, physical connection can feel mechanical, surface level, or even disconnected. But when two people share emotional closeness, when they feel seen, heard, valued, and safe with each other, every touch, kiss, and glance becomes layered with meaning. It's no longer just about sensation, it's about connection. That's what makes physical intimacy go from good to unforgettable. For many men and women, the most powerful sexual experiences aren't just about what happened physically, they're about how they felt during and after. When you trust the person you're with, when you feel like they care about your heart as much as your body, something shifts. Your guard comes down. Your breath deepens. You're not performing or thinking, you're feeling. You're not trying to be sexy, you are sexy because you're fully present and emotionally engaged. Emotional intimacy brings freedom. It allows you to be vulnerable, to express your desires, to ask for what you want without fear of judgment. That kind of openness is magnetic. It creates a space where you can explore more, laugh more, get messy, and still feel completely accepted. It builds a foundation where intimacy becomes not just about chemistry, but about trust, play, and mutual care. It also strengthens communication. When you're emotionally close to someone, it's easier to talk about what you like, what you want, what works and what doesn't. You can say, "I love when you do that," or "Can we try something new?" without feeling like you're risking rejection. That emotional safety makes the physical experience better because it becomes collaborative, not a performance, but a shared dance. Even silence feels different when emotional intimacy is present. You don't need to fill every moment with words or motion. You can lie next to each other, breathe, and feel the warmth of connection without doing anything, and it still feels intimate. That depth is what makes physical affection more than just physical. A simple touch on the arm, a kiss on the shoulder, or a deep gaze during a quiet moment can say more than words ever could. What's beautiful about emotional intimacy is that it doesn't always require grand declarations. Sometimes it's the way you listen, the way you show up, the way you remember what matters to your partner. It's in small gestures of care, understanding, and affection that build a sense of "we're in this together." And that energy carries into the bedroom. It becomes the undercurrent that makes physical intimacy feel safer, richer, more passionate. When people feel emotionally connected, they're more likely to let go, to give more, to receive more, and to stay curious about each other. They're not just exploring bodies, they're exploring each other's inner worlds. That's where true intimacy lives. And the more you nurture that emotional connection, the more it amplifies every physical experience you share. Confidence in your own desire is one of the most magnetic qualities you can bring into any intimate space. It's not about being loud, bold, or aggressive. It's about owning what you feel, expressing what you want, and allowing yourself to fully feel desire without shame, hesitation, or apology. That kind of energy is irresistible, not because it performs seduction, but because it radiates authenticity and self-ownership. Desire, when it comes from a place of confidence, isn't something you use to get approval. It's something you offer freely because you trust that your wants are valid. That trust in yourself sends a powerful message to your partner. I'm here because I want to be. I choose this. I choose you. That energy is captivating. When someone sees you fully embracing your own pleasure and attraction, it gives them permission to do the same. It invites them to meet you in that space of openness and presence. So often people are taught to tone down their desire, especially women. They're told not to be too much, not to show too much interest, not to take the lead too boldly. But desire, when expressed with self-awareness and playfulness, doesn't make you look desperate, it makes you look alive. When you say, "I've been thinking about you all day," or "I want you right now," you're not giving your power away, you're standing in it. You're letting someone into a real moment of connection, and that's what makes it sexy. Confidence in your desire also changes the way you experience intimacy. Instead of wondering what the other person is thinking or worrying about how you're being perceived, you're focused on what you're feeling. You're connected to your own body, your own wants, your own curiosity. That presence is magnetic. It pulls your partner into the moment with you because they're not just reacting to you, they're being invited into your world. It also deepens trust. When you show that you're comfortable expressing desire, it makes your partner feel safe doing the same. It creates a space where both people can be expressive without fear of judgment. That's when intimacy becomes playful, experimental, and deeply fulfilling, not because everything goes perfectly, but because both people are free to be real. Confidence in your desire doesn't mean you always have to take the lead or be overt. Sometimes it's in your eyes, your smile, the way you touch someone's hand. It's in the way you carry yourself, the way you say someone's name, the way you move toward what you want instead of shrinking away from it. It's subtle but powerful. It doesn't demand attention, it draws it in naturally. The most attractive people aren't the ones chasing validation. They're the ones who know what they want, enjoy wanting it, and aren't afraid to show it. Because desire, when it's owned, becomes a gift. Not a game, not a trap, but an invitation. And that kind of confidence lingers long after the moment ends. In the end, true intimacy, whether emotional or physical, is built on authenticity, trust, and presence. When you embrace your own desire, express your curiosity, and affirm both yourself and your partner, you create a space where connection thrives. Desire becomes not just about physical attraction, but about deep emotional engagement, where both people feel seen, valued, and free to explore. Confidence in your own desire is not about performing or seeking approval. It's about being fully present, being true to what you want, and inviting your partner to share in that journey. When both people bring their whole selves into the moment, intimacy becomes a shared, electrifying experience that goes far beyond the surface, leaving you both feeling connected and fulfilled on a much deeper level.